A child never asks to be born, but once they arrive in this world, they ask for something very simple: a home that feels safe, a home where love doesn't walk away. But today, marriages end faster than seasons change. And while two adults might call it a fresh start, a child silently calls it the end of their world. When a divorce happens, it's not just a relationship that breaks. It's the child's sense of stability, trust, and identity that shatters. They begin to live two lives, two houses, two sets of rule, but only half a heart that never feels fully at home anywhere. They laugh, but cautiously. They play, but not freely. They begin to hide their pain, their confusion, and worst of all, their voice. Dr. Ramonita Vasula, a well-known psychiatrist, once said, "Children internalize the conflict. Even when no one tells them, they somehow believe it's their fault." This is not an opinion. This is a truth backed by years of research. Dr. Judith Wallerstein, who followed children of divorced parents for over 25 years, found that many of them were still struggling emotionally even after a decade or more. Some feared love. Others feared abandonment. Most simply carried a silent pain, the kind even time forgets to heal. In one of her most haunting lines, she said, "Divorce is not just a moment, it changes childhood, adolescence, and adulthood." And the science confirms it too. A 2011 study in the Pediatrics Journal revealed that children whose parents separate in early childhood experience elevated stress hormones like cortisol. This doesn't just affect mood, it physically impacts brain development, memory, and emotional balance. A study by the University of Alberta found that children of divorced homes are twice as likely to suffer from depression and anxiety, even when their parents stay friendly. Another report in the Journal of Marriage and Family showed that these children often display more aggression, more withdrawal, and struggle deeply with emotional security later in life. And according to the CDC's Behavioral Risk Factor Survey, adults who experience parental divorce as children are more likely to battle depression, substance use, and suicidal thoughts. But beyond the numbers, there are real children, whispering stories the world forgets to hear. A 10-year-old boy in therapy was wetting his bed again after his parents' divorce. He had stopped speaking in school, his grades had plummeted. When the therapist finally asked him why, he replied softly, "I thought if I disappeared, then maybe mom and dad would get back together." How do you answer a child like that? And as parents, it's easy to point fingers, to blame, to walk away when the relationship feels hard. But maybe, just maybe, before you do that, look back. Think about your own childhood. What did you want? What did you need most? Maybe it was two parents sitting at the dinner table. Maybe it was a hug after a bad day, someone clapping at your school play, or just listening without being distracted. Your child wants the same. They don't want more toys, bigger homes, or expensive vacations. They want emotional safety, the kind that only comes when both parents are present, not just physically, but emotionally. Now let's be clear. Some divorces are necessary when there's abuse, manipulation, or danger. In such cases, separation protects the child. But most divorces today are about pride, convenience, or impatience. And that's where we, as a generation, are failing our children. So if you're going through separation, remember this. Don't fight in front of your child. Don't speak badly about the other parent. Don't make your child choose sides. Don't say things like "you're just like your father" or "your mother ruined everything." Instead, tell them, "It's not your fault. We both love you endlessly. You're still whole, even if our marriage is not." Be emotionally available. Show up for school events. Talk, hug, listen. Because you're not just co-parenting. You're co-building a soul. Family is a child's first classroom. And if that classroom is filled with fear, blame, and bitterness, what kind of adult do you think will come out of it? Children learn how to handle conflict by watching you. They learn how to love by watching you. They learn how to forgive only if you do. Before you walk out of that house, before you slam that door or sign those papers, ask yourself, am I giving my child the childhood I once longed for? Because in the end, divorce doesn't just end a marriage. It ends something sacred inside a child. Let's be better than that. Let's pause, let's reflect. Let's rebuild not just for the sake of marriage, but for the heart of a child who still believes that home means togetherness.